Welcome back, folks. MTG Joe here, and we're going to kick off some more budget decks for Ikoria Standard. So I put out the mono blue flash list that we were playing. I did put a note out on my Instagram, just what people were looking to see. Same applies for budget decks. If there's anything you'd like to see, do drop a comment on YouTube. I'll try to do some stuff. Let's try to avoid 3-color decks. They're quite difficult to put together from a budget consideration for Arena, just based on the number of wildcards. The mana bases alone tend to be between 20 to 24 rare lines, so it makes the kind of strategies a little bit difficult. We can do themes that a 3-color deck. So for example, if you want to do like Abzan Graveyard, we can look at Golgari Graveyard, so green-black, and then it could always be built towards something like that. So I usually try to focus on 1 to 2 color decks. It's a little bit easier for the archetype. So generally what we do with these budget builds is we try to focus around a theme, an archetype, a strategy, and then cap it out at around 10 rare or mythic wildcards. I'll put suggestions along the way. If you have the cards, you can add them in. But it's kind of just to play around as you get started. Even myself, I've now done like 130 packs of the new set, and I still am missing quite a few cards. So it's a good way to kind of start off as we accumulate cards through the format. These obviously aren't tier 1 decks, but they're a bridge and kind of something fun to play as you accumulate and build towards whatever the meta deck is of that kind of period. So this is an Izzet, so red-blue. The card that a lot of people wanted to see was Ominous Seas. So it's a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever you draw a card, you put a counter on it, and then you can remove 8 counters on it to make an 8/8 Kraken, and then it itself can cycle for 2. So we're kind of built around a Spellslinger style deck, so kind of around the Izzet Drakes, Izzet Phoenix style list. This list will feature 4 mythics and 6 rares. And basically we're trying to cycle through our deck as fast as possible, draw cards, and kill our opponent with big Krakens or just beaters. So we kind of have, I'll show the threats and then we'll do the support. So you have Dorit, the perfect pet Godzilla, but really it's Sprite Dragon. It's a 2-mana 1/1 flying haste with a prowess ability. Whenever you attack, it's not exactly prowess, but it's better because it keeps the counters on it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a 1/1 counter on it. Played a game in testing this where I had 2 of these out, and one was an 11/11 and one was a 7/7, so it was kind of cool. Rielle of the Everwise, 3 mana 0/3. That's power in toughness. Sorry, power is equal to the number of spells or in your graveyard, so instants or sorceries. So kind of like the Drake of old. It has the additional line of text whenever you discard 1 or more cards for the first time each turn, you draw that many cards. So something like Thrill of Possibility, you discard a card to draw 2. In this case, you discard a card to draw 3. Playing 2 of them because they are legendary. And then we have Crackling Drake on the top end. This is power and toughness cards in your instants and sorceries in your graveyard or exile. And when it enters the battlefield, we draw a card. So those are kind of the threats. You also have Royal Scion, which is an enabler and a threat. So it can cycle through cards. When you could draw 1 and discard, and then you get to draw another one with Rielle. The trample can actually be relevant with both Drake and Sprite Dragon if you get them big enough, and then its ultimate can deal some damage and refill your hand. Probably would play 3 of these if you have it, and then kind of how we tie the deck together. So card draw, you have Opt, Radical Idea, Thrill of Possibility. Cathartic Reunion is a card that is a bigger impact, but it's got more downside. So Cathartic Reunion is discard 2, draw 3. It's a sorcery speed where this allows us to play instant, and you require the 2 cards in your hand to discard. If you don't have 2 cards and your hand's empty and you draw Cathartic Reunion, you can't do anything with it. So Thrill's a little bit easier to play off of it, and it lets us hold up removal, and if not, then kind of discard that way. It's also a combat trick with Sprite Dragon, doing it at instant speed. Radical Idea also lets us jumpstart from the graveyard, so it's a way that we can kind of reset that way. And then we have Shock and Blitz of the Thunder-Raptor. This is a new card, so it's basically, what's that card's name? Beacon Bolt. Beacon Bolt at instant speed. with exile. So it looks at the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard and deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker, and they exile instead. So this is a really good card that scales late game. It's not as effective early game as something like Scorching Dragonfire, but it helps deal with questing beasts or Nisas or stuff like that. And then to maximize velocity in the main board to ramp things up, this is a way that we can give a Rielle or Crackling Drake haste and kind of win out of nowhere. The mana base, we're using our other 6 rares. We have 4 Steam Vents, 2 Fabled Passage. I'm playing Swiftwater Cliffs as a budget consideration. If you have temples, play the temples. These over here. And then just some other suggestions for the deck. I'd probably go Royal Scion. I'd probably do some Bone Crusher Giants just as a spell. Perhaps some Brazen Borrower. Just to kind of round things up. But you do want to keep a critical mass. Ideally, probably what I would do is just shave down to maximize velocity and a couple shocks for a couple Bone Crusher Giants, and then probably call it like that. We're playing 22 lands because of the density of spells. Sideboard wise, Soul Guide Lanterns to exile graveyards, Aether Gust, red and green things we're playing 4 of. Some Disdainful Strokes. There's the Gyruda like mill deck with Clever Impersonator, where you just keep flipping over your deck. That's what I'm playing in ranked right now. A lot of the impactful cards are 4 CMC or greater, so it's a good way to deal with that. 3 Lava Coils as more removal, and some Mystical Disputes as well. So we'll play this out, see how it goes, play a couple games, and take it from there. This is the deck I was saying. I'll feature it on stream. I'm playing a couple different versions. The original idea, I think, came from Yeoman on Twitter, and then like Ali Eldrazi has a version. There's a few variants going around. I know Huey Jensen was playing, he eventually just went to Simic. So I've kind of been playing around with kind of what I like. Basically, you try to ramp up. Yeah. Came to make Krakens. So probably the curve here, depending. Okay, so this is the Gyruda deck, so we're gonna get to see it in action. Game 1, we're probably pretty weak to it, but we can bring in enough interaction for game 2. It's fairly weak to counter spells. So they don't really have removal. So let's get Seize going into Rielle, and then Thrill and Radical Idea. That should turbocharge us. Interesting. This might be a slightly different take on it. Still think we jam here. Okay, so they have Tyrant Scorn. Is this more of a control version? Here, I think we want to go aggressive. And I'm going to do this now. It puts 2 more counters on this. And then if we draw a land, I can maximize velocity to Crackling Drake to try to win out of nowhere. This is still only 2 power. Okay, they are going to Gyruda next turn. Flying is usually pretty good in this matchup. They gum up the board pretty well. Okay, so just Fae here. Perfect. So I still think we just go Crackles. They'll be able to block 1. So this being Sultai is a little bit different. Most of the versions are banned. So I'm not sure what their top end is. They might be playing stuff like Pelucranos. But they'll get to spin the wheel here. Oh, they missed a land, which goes well for us. Them forcing us to put stuff into our graveyard is actually quite advantageous for us. So here I think we start with an opt. I think we keep this. So let's attack with both. Let's take them off some mana. They missed a land, so that helps. Going to discard this. We have some more counters on the seas. And that's just 6. You know what? If we would have pointed these to the Fae, we could have killed it. And then killed them this turn. Okay. Just hold this in hand. I could shock. Cool. So flyers are really good. Taking game 1 helps there. We didn't get to pop off Kraken, but we would have done it on end step. So this version here, we want the strokes and we want probably disputes. Coming out, they'll probably bring in more removal. Shock's probably not the best. Let's trim a couple shocks. I'm probably going to cut the Rielles. It doesn't really play that well. Maybe trim like that. We're going to win this game through Ominous Seas, I think. The shocks just feel kind of bad. Like that game they worked out, but they were kind of struggling on mana. If they hit the line, the game goes a bit different. I do like the sprites. If we get one down on 2, can protect it. Sorry if you hear the door in the background. I think I just got a Amazon delivery. So I also have a black-white sacrifice deck after this. That's a budget deck. I'm gonna keep this. Gonna lead on the opt. Okay, so having stroke on 2 will be good. I think we want a Sprite Dragon probably. I think we try to get, if we could get Omen or Ominous Seas. So Thrill's not bad. We can discard Umari, so this makes their creatures cost less. I think we counter this here. Just play the land and say go. Okay, so Druid's fine. So I'm going to bin the other Thrill. Perfect. So this lets us hold up a counter spell. Let me just do this now. And I get to get Ominous Seas going. And then this should allow us to counter whatever they're coming back with. Let's not mistake it. I am going to hit cycling by accident one time. For whatever reason, I feel like it should default to the right. Okay, so the growth spiral here, that's fine. The nice thing is I can actually dispute it the first time. I think we just keep them off. They'll get incidental value. Let's just pass the turn here. I could technically dig for a land, but I think holding up, just maximizing our removal is good. So this is situational because they could pay for 3. I could take them off mana, so maybe we do that. Okay, so I'll probably hang on to future lands from this point. The reason being, so I'm going to let this resolve, and then I'm going to exile it. Okay, so we'll just end the turn here. So we'll eventually get 8/8s. We can counter whatever they do. Something that you might want to add if you already have them in Castle Vantress. The Scry Castle would be good in this deck. Okay, if they're just going to play Druids, that's fine. If we draw a land, then I'm going to flash this back. So post board, we become more of a control deck in this matchup. That's great. If we draw another land, I can hold up the stroke as well. I think it's just worth doing this for this turn. We just don't want them to sneak a Gyurda down, because next turn I start getting 8/8s. Okay, Thassa's Oracle. So this might be like an alternative win con for the deck. I'm short of mana, so I think we just go Rielle and then hold up the stroke. Rielle is a 9/3, so it is quite formidable. We might just see some removal here. That's fine. We get 8/8s starting their end step. Spark double. It's fine. The best I can do is copy an Oracle. Like, we're going to get an 8/8 and we can start threatening them. They might have Tyrant Scorn as their last card. These aren't the hexproof Krakens that Kiora Best to See creates. Okay, Dispute's good. Okay, so they did have the Scorn. I could have disputed that. Actually, we probably should have. That was a mistake. Okay, so I think now we need to Drake. I still have Dispute as a backup. They have the mana. That was dumb. I think we're dead now. They hit us for 6/7. Yeah, they get Gyurda. Then they get the body double, the spark doubles to copy Gyurda. That makes it bigger. And then they kind of go off. Yep. So misplay there was not disputing to keep the Kraken. So they do have Tyrant Scorns, so I think we want to get rid of this for this. And on the play, I think we just run it like this again. Error on my part. We probably would have had that one. We dispute there. We keep the 8/8. They can't profitably attack. Maybe it was right to counter the Spark Double. Once they usually get Gallardo rolling, then you lose the game. Nope. Nope. Gonna lose on them all. If this was a blue source, we'd keep. Even if it was a tap blue source. They might have taken out the phase, but the phase seemed like decent blockers against us. Come on, buddy. Okay. I think we go like that. We're on the beatdown plan this game. So if we could dodge a Tyrant Scorn, then we're probably okay. Okay, they don't have blue mana. So I think we bin the Fabled Passage. Draw 2 here. That sets us up just to Drake next turn. Not a huge mass of spells, but opponent not having a turn 2 accelerant's good. Considering this was a multi 5, this will eventually allow us to kill something. Okay, they got Druid, so their mana will be fixed next turn. So in this deck, you do want to kind of keep extra lands to discard. I was hoping for a spell there. If we could chain some ops together, we can be in a pretty good spot. They're at effectively 5 mana. Seen 7 out of 22 lands. Okay, so they'll get their other blue. Not that good. I'm going to take him off of mana here. It makes our attack a bit bigger. They might have Tyrant Scorn here. Yep. So here we hope they miss a mana draw, miss a land drop, or it comes into play tapped. Otherwise, they're going off. Okay. Plan worked out. They do need to watch out too. Depending on what they flip with this, they can just indirectly be presented lethal. They have Aether Gust. Since we know we're drawing this, okay, so they're hitting it next turn. And they have Poly K. This would be a good answer, but we don't have the mana right now. I'm just gonna set up this turn. Actually, I should have kept this up because they're gonna mill us over, so there's a good chance this becomes live. We'll see what they do. Maybe they just go Gyurda. We'll see if they want to take a turn to fight. Okay. May be able to sneak this away. Okay, they got Enray's Forerunner, so this gives their team trample. We are taking 15 here. Let's see what we can do. So we draw a bunch of cards. Oh, we're one off. Maybe not. So discard this. We make an 8/8. So we discard this, it makes an 8/8. They're forced to block. Just a little short. That Aether Gust ended up doing us in. But this is basically what we would be doing. Ideally with the deck. So they do need to block somewhere here. Couldn't churn enough through the deck. If we could have hit one more draw spell, we would have been able to pop like Ominous. Yeah. Okay, that one was pretty close. Considering it was budget, in game 2 I kind of punted that away. So let me give Arena a reset and we'll fire it up for one more. Client's been a little bit slow since the last set release. The load time's been a little weird. So if we had something like Sprite Dragon, that was actually off a Multi-5 too, which wasn't terrible. The Drakes seem pretty decent in this list. One thing, this deck has a really hard time against Narset. You can't let 3 mana Narset resolve or stay on the battlefield. So that's why I like the Sprite Dragons at least, to just haste attack it. Because you discard and then not draw cards, which feels terrible. Yeah. If the opponent's not on a super aggressive... Oh, we're playing Gyurda again. So same board plan as last time. We're going to go Seas into Seas and then just try to make a bunch of Krakens. Okay, so this is the banked version. You'll get to see both variants. This is going to be a very popular deck on the ladder right now. Fortunate they've gone tap line into tap line. They haven't had something like Growth Spiral or Paradise Druid. Next turn we play these two. A great draw would be an Opt. Opponent's reading a card. So one of the more lackluster plays they can do on 2, or I guess on 3. I think just in case they have Thassa this turn, it would be worthwhile to shock this. And next turn if we draw, yep. That way they would have been able to get us free scry. Perfect. So I'm going to go Drake here, and then next turn we can Thrill. A little bit clunky just drawing 3 Drakes, but I think we Thrill of Possibilities. That gaining him 2 life or 6 life really sucks. Okay, well, let's attack. That's actually very good for the following turn. Might be able to surprise them. Let's just crack for an island. So I'm gonna get to opt, make an 8/8. And then the following turn, I can Crackling Drake, maximize velocity it. Hopefully this is a poor flip. Okay, so they got at least a body double. This does make this bigger. They might opt to go with Mothra. So this is more the Eldrazi version. Okay, they just got Paradise Druids. So I'm going to make an 8/8 here. Do I want the land? Because I have to pay the red. No, if it was a red man, I would. Okay, another Drake. So we can't kill Thassa, but it gives us a block. They're going to blink likely the Guard Mage here as a blocker. They could do Gyruda again to spin the wheel a bit more. Okay. And they got a Thassa. And I think we win. We could make another 8/8 here. Maximize velocity. 24 our opponent. $25. Plus we had another 8/8 coming. Sick. They're weak against flyers. So same board plan, Disdainful Strokes and Disputes in. This version, so I'm going to cut the shocks. We need 2 cuts. This version, Rielle's, I think we want actually, Scions is probably worse. Or Rielle. Let's cut the Scions. Do I want Lava Coils is the question. Because they're milling us over, I like the maximize velocities. I think we keep this and just ignore them and try to kill them. we can't really interact with them in the traditional sense. We need to just be the aggressor or like control-y. Okay, we're on the draw and I have an opt. We should be able to find a turn second land. And then again, set up the Ominous Seas and go from there. Okay, they did mull to 5. So they might be a bit slower off this game. So anything that's not a land is going away. Paradise Druid or Growth Spiral. Growth Spiral is probably better here. I'm going to be a little greedy and try to get an untapped land. Alright. Got too greedy. Just fired up. In that matchup there, if we're missing the land drop, they're already ahead on lands. It's going to be hard for us to catch up. I think we just run it back. Like, I could play it out, but at that point, like with the... You want to get down the Ominous Seas down on 2. Like, we could do 2-3 Ominous Seas, then we're in a pretty good spot. But with no counter magic and missing land drops, we're a little bit behind there. So instead of just running it out, they're very likely to win that game. Let's go on the play where our counter magic's a bit better. Yeah, this one's been pretty sweet. I've tried like a non-budgety version, but I think this one just going cycling is a little bit better. I like the Ominous Seas for sure. It gives the deck kind of an alternative win con, and it's like pseudo haste. I'm probably gonna... Okay, so now that we got that, Steam Vents, I'm gonna Thrill of Possibilities the Fabled Passage away. I think. We're likely to hit another land, which we do. And then I can just go Drake into Drake. Try to beat him down that way. We're really just looking for... so pseudo haste in the sense you can have the 8th counter on it. At the end of their turn, you make the token, then you untap, and then you can attack it. So it gets around Wraths and sorcery-based removal. So it's like an instant that you play at the end of their turn, or like a flash, like how they flash in Night Pack Ambusher, for example. So here, in case they have Dispute, I'm going to go this route. Okay, they don't. And then depending what they do here, if they tap the Druid, I'm going to kill it. It takes them a turn off playing Gyruda. Or do we Thrill? Okay, so they have Thassa. Can't do anything there. So let's get rid of one of these removal spells. How big are you? You're a 4/4. So we're going to get Gyruda. Let's just make this bigger and try to kill him. I think we just have to be the beatdown here. Because unless they hit one of the flyers, we should be okay. They hit the flyers, they gain 6 life, they get 2 blockers. But I can Blitz them. And then Crackling Drake. I could blitz them and then just play a bunch of spells and then try to beat them that way. Blitz is a little bit of a non-bow with the jump starts when you flash them back. They didn't have a land. Okay. That's very good for us. Okay, so they have Elite Guard Mage, so they should be dead here. Or very close to it, at least. Mystical Dispute is a great draw. So let's blitz here. That just puts us up to 10. Let's get rid of Swiftwater. So if I cast this, it makes this 6, this 7, that's 13. So I think we just wait. Because then I have a backup Drake just in case. And then go from there. So I'm going to dispute this when it comes down. And that should wrap it up. Play it. Play it. Be greedy. Mystical Dispute. Good games. Budget Magic. We're gonna flex on them? Oh, you're gonna get a Paradise Druid Blink. That's cute. They can't tap. Oh, look at this tech. What's this tech? 1 mana. You got Unsummon? Flex on them. Super dead. All right. Made up for that other one that we kind of punted away. Sick. This deck was sweet. Glad that there's some viability in these budget brews. Yeah, so this is like the budget one. I tried this one. This was a non-budget one, but I don't know if it's much better with Yadaro in there. And then I went Scorching Dragonfire. I actually kind of like this one better with the Drakes. I'm honestly wondering if we need Rielle. Cut the budget down. Like, I'd probably rather Royal Scions. I don't know. This one seemed pretty sweet. Just being aggressive and then winning out of nowhere. I like the evasion this has, but target creature. Oh wait, there's a jump start that gives you flying, right? Like something wings or maximize altitude. Doesn't give haste though. Because this can give this evasion. But with these Gyruda decks, this is actually a really good answer because you have both these cards that don't care about it. And then you can basically find your combo piece here and then win through that. All right, sweet. Gone for about 45 with this one. I'm going to wrap it up. Got to do some stuff around the house, but I'm going to come back later today. We have another budget deck. This is a black-white Aristocrats Sacrifice style deck. So I'm going to try this one out as well. So this is something we'll play later today. So as always, if you do enjoy the content, have a bunch of it up on YouTube. I'll eventually play this deck as well, the Gyruda one. This is my kind of mashup. I like Migration Path in it, just to ramp you ahead. Ideally, I want to go 2 for Cascairuda and then go off. And then the sideboard, you have like Jace as like an alt win con and stuff. So that's pretty much mine. See how it goes. Might want to try Thassa's Oracle as well, maybe instead of Jace, because it can hit it off. But still playing around with some of the numbers. I think I'm like 4-2 with the deck. Should be like top 1,000, but see how it is. Anyways, thanks for tuning by, and we'll catch you later in the day. Have a great one, and see you shortly.